This is a controversial episode. I have some codes that I need to clear in the Seat Leon, and I'm going to need a code reader or diagnostic tool to be able to clear that. So there's two on the offering, but which one is best? OBDeleven or VCDS? Find out in this episode. Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode. So today we need to get the car ready for its MOT, and for my US listeners or watchers out there, that's the Ministry of Transport tests that every car in the UK has to go through when that car hits 3 years old. And my Seat Leon is just over 3 years old, literally 15 days over 3 years old. So it has to go for a test. Unfortunately, there are some lights on the dashboard that need to be cleared, airbag lights, etc. And those will fail the MOT if they're on while the car goes through a test. So what better excuse is there for us to use two of the market-leading diagnostic tools that can be used to clear down issues in your cars, and also to find out if there are any engine codes that need to be investigated. And those two market leaders are VCDS or VADCOM by Rostec, and the other one being OBDeleven, the new player in the market. Okay, so a little bit of history. Rostec or VADCOM or VCDS has been around since the year 2000. Started off as being called VADCOM and has evolved into VCDS. It is and has been the undisputed champion in vehicle diagnostics. But of course there are a few other players, and the one that's becoming very noticeable is a little product called OBDeleven. OBDeleven has been around since 2015 and has rapidly become one of the go-to tools that many people, enthusiasts like myself, have been using to fix issues in their car. But which one is best? I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where everyone looks at either one or the other, but no one has really pitched both of them against each other. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so most people who use either VCDS or OBDeleven are enthusiasts, and they use YouTube to find out how to use a product, or the forums that both products are well supported by. So I figured what we'll do is a side-by-side comparison, and we'll use 5 categories that we can use to measure both products, and at the end of the categories we'll score. So whoever wins a round will get a point, and at the end of the 5 rounds we'll be able to see which one is the best and settle that dispute once and for all. Controversial. So 5 categories that we're going to choose is costs, discovery of issues, so how good it is at finding faults in the cars, features, ease of use, and finally support. Those 5 categories I think will encompass most of the things that the enthusiasts will use either products again. So without further ado, let's get on the way. We need to get the car out in the place, and we need to plug up both devices so that we can see which one is the best. Okay, so let's take a look at the options that are available with Rostec. So Rostec has been around, like we said, for a number of years, established in 2000, the year 2000, and has been the main VAD tool for diagnostics of any electronic component on a VW Audi Group vehicle since then. So what options are available to you with VCDS? Well, let's take a look at the screen. So essentially there are 3 options. You've got the light version, which will allow you to reset your codes, but if you need to do any coding at all, you need to buy one of the VIN package or the semi-pro version. So there are 2 versions available on the for the light enthusiasts. You have your free VIN, and the free VIN options will set you back £225. So the way the free VIN option works is that it will allow you to do long coding on free vehicles. So free vehicles from the Audi, Volkswagen Audi group. If you're doing any code resets, that doesn't count towards your VINs. So if your friend's got a problem with a car, you want to reset a code, you can do that, and that won't be taken as part of your VINs. But the minute you do long coding, it will activate one of the VIN licenses on the OBD sensor. Now if you're like me and you have a number of vehicles that you're going to be doing, then you might want to take a look at the 10 VIN version. So the 10 VIN version will set you about £299, so just slightly more, and that would allow you to do exactly the same and connect to up to 10 vehicles. Now you may have seen there's another pack here for £399. Now what that is it gives you USB sticks, etc., so you can download data on there, and you get a fancy little case. So if it's worth it to you, then spend additional money, but in terms of software, you're not getting anything more. And then of course there's the professional version. That's £450. That's unlimited VIN, so there's no restrictions on that whatsoever. That is a good option if you're a garage, or you know you're going to be doing it as a business, so that's an option that I would certainly consider going forward. And they also do a Wi-Fi version as well. So the Wi-Fi version, so there is a app that you can get that you can download from the app stores of both Android and iOS. However, and then it will connect to this via or wirelessly or Bluetooth. No, it is Wi-Fi. It's a Wi-Fi connection, so it's basic Wi-Fi connection. However, it only offers you basic functionality, so it doesn't offer you the full-blown options that you would normally get with the connected version via a USB. So that's just something that you need to take into consideration. So what happens when you use up all 10 or 3 of the VINs if you've got the free car version? Well, you can get an upgrade, and the upgrade is very interesting because it costs you £169, and what it does, if you've got a free VIN OBD connector, you will upgrade it to a 10, and if you got a 10, it will upgrade it to an unlimited. So it's a great, if you're not sure what you need, it's good because you'll be able to get the sort of the 10 or the free VIN version, and then once you start getting a lot more cars, you can then do an upgrade. Now the cost difference is £18 as opposed to you buying the full unlimited from the get-go, so it'll cost you £468 instead of the 450. However, it does beg the question that for the upgrade price of £169, you could buy yourself 2 Pro versions of the of OBDeleven at £148. So it's still cheaper than buying the upgrade, and you have no limitations as well. So I don't know, just putting it out there. Right, so that covers all the options with our friends here at VCDS. Let's take a look now at OBDeleven. Okay, so OBDeleven, let's take a look at the website over there. So here's the main page, and we can see the main product here. Now the options that you have on here is you have the main device here, which will cost you £34.92. They do 2 options. They do one standard device, so this is the one that I have, and then they have one with a easy remove, it's like a key ring. I would strongly recommend that you pick up this version because these things get stuck and it's really difficult to get them out. So get the one with the ring. It'll cost you an extra £9 plus change, but it really is worth the difference. Then you have the option of going Pro. So with the Pro, you are looking at £21 and 82 pence, which is not bad considering that if you buy yourself the version with the key ring and then add the Pro licensing, it's going to cost you a total of £65 and 47 pence. That is it. Of course, you also need an Android device as well to add to it. Most people have an Android phone, or they have a friend who has an Android phone, or you can buy one on eBay. So you're looking at £100 tops. Don't forget, if you're using VCDS, you're going to need a laptop as well, so that's going to be about £300 or £400. So if you're looking at the devices sort of square on, it's kind of, the OBD11 is always going to be a lot cheaper. Even on the free VIN model with VCDS, you're still making a substantial change in. But here's the game changer. On the OBD11 product, it is unlimited. So from the get-go, you can use it with as many cars as you want. There is no limitations at all, and it will work with quite a variety of vehicles as well. So looking at the winner of the first round, which is cost, I'm afraid it has to go to OBD11 on that. So OBD11 wins the cost round. So let's go to round 2. Okay, so round 2 is the discovery of issues. So what we're going to do for that test is we're going to get the SEAT out, and we are going to plug both devices in. And what we should find is that both devices should find all the errors that are in the car. So we're going to try VCDS first, and we're going to go through the process of what it takes to find codes in the car, and then we're going to go over to OBD11 and we're going to run exactly the same test. Now both products should find exactly the same amount of errors with the cars. Anyone that finds more will be the clear winner, but if we have a tiebreaker, then obviously we're going to score both with the same point. So let's get on and let's do that test now and see what the results are. Okay, so we've got the car started now, and as you can see, there's a number of lights all on in the dashboard there. So we've got our airbag light, we've got our tire warning light, not really worried about that. There's one there for the steering wheel, not sure what that is. We've got a glow plug light on, we've got an engine light on, we've got a anti-skid light on, or ASR. And then if we look here on the center console, looking at the vehicle report, it's reporting an issue with start stop. We've got the service light, that's fine. Tire pressure, again, that's fine. Headlight error, headlight range control. So we're going to plug in VCDS first, and then we should pick up all of those errors in our report. So let's just let me plug it in, and then we can start our commentary. Okay, so let's start off by doing a scan of all our codes. So we're going to scan now to see if we can pick up all our codes. So the first thing that we do is we do an auto detect. So let's see if it picks up the car. So it seems to have picked up the car. It is now scanning. So it's scanning all the areas of the car. So we're going to let this bit run, and then we will take a look and see how many errors it found. This bit will take a while, so we'll probably speed this section up. Okay, so we found a number of faults. So we found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's giving me more detailed of what those codes are. So essentially it's found 14 errors, and then if I go down here I can see what those error codes are. Now if I want to see those, what I've got to do is I have to copy that data and then open up Notepad. I'll do that in the background. And then literally what I have to then do with Notepad is copy and paste that data, and I get all that information in Notepad that I can then view later. Okay, so that is 14 codes. What we do now is we'll run the same tests on OBD11 and we should find exactly the same amount of errors, and then we can do a comparison. Okay, so we've plugged in OBD11. First thing it does is it finds the model of the car, so it's asking me to select the car. I'm going to do that now. Modification, it's just a Seat Leon, body type, hatchback. So it's found the car and now it's going to detect the problems. So this bit will take a little while, and what we'll do is we'll fast forward this. Okay, so it's now finished and it's found 12 faults in the car. So let's take a look at those faults. So the first one, 01, it found the engine fault, which is the same as the VCDS. It's found the brakes, the ABS. I've put these up on the screen so you can see them both. It's found something wrong with the air conditioning, central electrics. It's found that fault as well. The airbag fault, it's found that. Dashboard number 17, it's found an issue with that. Gateways number 19, it's found that as well. Next one should be an engine one, so that's 33. That hasn't been found by a VCDS, or it's probably recording as something else. So let's see, 19 and 33, right, okay. 44, steering assist, that was picked up by VCDS as well. 52, door electronic side, passenger, is picked that up. Headlight projection, 55, it's picked that up. And information control, this is something new, it's picked that up as well. So that's information electric at 5F. So basically this has picked up everything. It's actually picked up one addition as well. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. So I guess looking at this test, the looking at this, it would seem that OBD11 has actually picked up something that the VCDS has not. Oh, nope, hang about, that's changed. So 33 is now gone, which was there initially. So it's picked up exactly the same code. So essentially they are all the same. Now the difference here is that if I go into these codes, so I keep refreshing the screen, I can actually see what they are, and it gives me a nice description of what those codes actually are. With VCDS, I actually have to run each module to see what those codes are. So it will communicate with it, and it will come back, and I can actually click on those codes and see. But I guess that with the OBD11, it's given me information in English, and I can look at the fault and see what it is. It says it was telling me what the error here is, so I can look at each of these codes. This one here is telling me that the it's got accumulation. We can resolve that by taking the car for a good run, so that can be fixed. From the features, basically from the looking at the errors, both have reported exactly the same codes, so both score 1 point on that. Okay, So let's take a look at some of the features that are available with OBDeleven. So OBDeleven, I can do long coding because this is the pro version, but I also can look at application. And what it will do now is it will communicate with the car, and it will tell me all the things that I can do on the car without actually programming, without doing long coding. Now this is something that VCDS cannot do. Now everything, these are quick templated, long coded, pre-assigned options that I can switch on with the car. I can included resetting the oil indicator, which was on the car, but I won't do that until I actually get the oil change in the car. So you can't do this with VCDS. You have to do long coding. Now the downside with this, and it's not really a downside, it's actually quite fair, everything here costs. So you get this credit system which you can buy from the Google store. At the moment you can see down the bottom of the screen I have 102 credits. So if I want to do any of these options, I have to press I have to click on these, and also the feature needs to be in the car. So for example, optical parking, the car needs to have parking sensors on the car. But if it didn't and I wanted to fit them myself, I can do that, press this option, it'll cost me 10 credits, and then I can switch that on. If I want to do this in VCDS, I have to use long coding, and there's plenty of guides online that can help you to do that. But this gives OBDeleven a bit of a competitive edge because of the fact that I can do all of these features with a click of a button. So if you're nervous about long coding, and I know that a lot of people are, this really is a fantastic aid in order to switch options on in your car. A note to yourself though, you do need to be a little bit careful with this because there are some features that can actually break parts of the car. So do your research before you turn these features on. So if your car doesn't have the option, don't think by turning it on that you're going to enable that. For example, mirror dip. If your car doesn't have the motors in there, what happens is, and this happened in my Audi A4, the mirror dip works, but actually when you go back you can't adjust the mirrors at all while the car is moving because it thinks it's dipped the mirror. So just be aware of that if the feature isn't there, you can't use it. So from a feature point of view, this gets the point. You can do long coding with this, so you can switch long coding mode on and then just do it that way if you so desire. But I think that a lot of people who will be nervous of long coding would prefer to use this feature rather than the other. So this gets the point from my point of view. Okay, so let's take a look at ease of use. So with both devices we can do we can copy off the codes that we find and discover and then do some online research. So with VCDS, the way you do that is that you get your codes, it will then do its scan, and then you copy that onto Notepad or to Word, and then from there you then copy those codes onto your browser. That's what I tend to do, and then Google your way to a solution. That's okay, it's just a little bit long-winded. With OBDeleven, what that does is it shows you the code and then finds the links for you on Google. I'll give you a demo of that now. So on the screen you can see that I'm finding the link. I can then find the article and then I can read it straight from my device, and that's really great because that means that I can, while I'm diagnosing the problem, I can try various things and I don't have to spend the time doing research. Or alternatively, I can email me the code and then I can look at it at a later date to do some brainstorming. So both devices use you can get the information and obviously copy and paste it into browsers, but OBDeleven has just that edge in terms of getting that information to you quicker and giving you various ways of being able to do that without copying and pasting information into a Word or a Notepad and then copying it again. So the point goes to OBD11. Okay, so let's take a look at the support options that are open to us from both companies. Now, both companies offer two methods of support, so it's either via forum or via direct contact. Now, forums, I'm not a fan of forums, and only because the information is just not very well put together in most forums, and then you really got to know what you're searching for in order to find it. You will eventually find it, but you have to go through all the dross of various conversations and trolls, etc., before you actually get to the information. So, you know, there's got to be something better than forums, really. But hey, that's what we got. So, looking at the screen now, we're looking at the OBD11 forum now, and the way it's actually put together is not bad, to be fair. So you've got your various different brands that it supports, and then you've got your models. So for example, at the moment I'm working on my Seat Leon with its 12 errors. I can scroll down to Leon, and then I can pick my model. Mine is the 5F 2012 to 2017 model. And then I can then do a search for my codes or whatever, and even on the long code adaptation, and both of them have this. So if you want to do the long coding for bits that haven't got a pre-made adaptation that you can pay for using credits, then you'll pretty much will find it in the forum here. So the OBD11 one is pretty good. It has a lot of information. It even has a section that allows you to see what's happening, or what new announcements are happening with the products, or what's coming up next, and we'll come on to that in a second. Going over to Rostec, the Rostec forum it's been around for a lot longer, and it basically has the same kind of things as the OBD11, but it's a little bit more difficult to navigate, so you really got to know what you're finding. And in fact, I tend to use Google rather than the website because it's a lot easier to find data. They do have a good wiki section, and it has your main models, and then you can find the cars that you're working on and then find the codes. So so here, for example, you have all the models here that have various bits, and you can drill down and then you can see specific codes and what they mean. But again, if you Google these, you'll find that information to hand, and that's the easiest way I find to navigate the Rostec website or forum for information. Going to the direct support, so with Rostec, you email one of these numbers here, these addresses, and then they will then come back to you in a timely fashion. They have different languages as well, so there'll be German and Spanish support as well as English. Well, obviously you got to be aware of the time zones, so if you're in the UK, and it's going to be 5 hours before they respond to you. The only advantage is that if you're working late in the evening, then they are going to be online for another 5 hours after you get home, so you've got that contact there. But that's really the only means of getting direct contact with them. There is a number here that you can also dial, but unless they've got the support, it can be you will get a call back. However, they do have that as an option. With Rostec, they sorry, not Rostec, OBD11, what they have is in the app you can make contact with technical support. So essentially you click on the menu button here, and then it will take you to here. You click on help, and then you click on speech, you select the conversation. However, it's not real time. You send them your information, and then you will then get contacted, and they'll come back to you on that. That's pretty good. It's not really, like I said, it's not real time, so if you've got an issue you do have to wait and come back, but they will get back to you. So in terms of sort of help desk style contact, then both of them, there is going to be some kind of time or time waiting. But you know, if I was to score either of them, I'd probably give them a point each, because they're as good as each other really, and none of them are really sort of lighting the earth on fire, so to speak. But at least you do get the support, which is important, because when you have an issue, you want to know that you can go to someone and get it resolved, and so they're pretty good at doing that. So 1 point each. Okay, so the final scores are in. So who wins? Well, looking at our testing group now, so for costs we gave OBD11 because it was cheaper and unlimited in terms of VIN connections. For discovery of issues, they were both the same. They both discovered the same issues and codes, and you were able to reset those. Although I did have an error in the VCDS, it came up with a licensing error, but that's an issue. I wouldn't penalize it for that. For features, we awarded a point to OBD11 because there were just a little bit more in terms of the feature set, in terms of the shortcuts to a long coding, where it had the templated features that you could do already done, and you just paid a credit system, which I think is great and avoids the removes the human element of making mistakes. Ease of use, both were fairly easy to use. You do need some training with VCDS. With OBD11 it's much more intuitive, and the links to get the data using the error codes and the Google links that it has in there, that was great. So it made it a lot quicker rather than copy and pasting from Notepad or Word document into a browser. And then the final one, support, they both scored a point each in terms of the fact that neither was really better than the other and had their own sort of foibles. Don't forget, VCDS has been around for 19 years, so the support base is greater, but OBD11 has made some real inroads in the 5 years that it's been around, so we award them a point each. So the total, really, the winner is OBD11. Which, wow. And I know there's going to be a lot of you guys up in arms about that, because especially if you're a VCDS fanboy and you've been using it. I've been using it for years, VCDS. It's been a great product. I've been using it since the Vagcom days. But the problem with VCDS is that the development, because it's been the monopoly product, I don't think the team of people who are working on it have really caught up or kept a pace with modern day requirements. Whereas the team at OBD11, they have done a tremendous amount of development on the product, and even though at the moment it's Android, they are developing a iOS version which is going to be released in the next quarter. So you'll see in that they are really responding to the requests of forum users, and for that you can't fault the product. And I think if they continue in this fashion, they're just going to be miles ahead in terms of the product. It is a great product, can't deny that fact, and I know that some of you will differ from that, but the tests from a domestic mechanic point of view, you can't deny the tests. Okay, well that's it for this week. So thank you for viewing this, and if it's the first time that you're seeing this channel, don't forget to subscribe, because we do lots of stuff like this, and thumbs up as well if you like what you're seeing as well, because we need the support. We're moving up towards 10k. Next week's video, well, that's going to be an interesting one. We're going to get the 4K back, and then we're going to get that up and running. That's going to be very quick. So that's our beginner series for this Seat Leon. I've got 12 issues to resolve, so I'm going to have to order some bits and pieces for that to get those fixed. So we're going to take a look at that in a couple weeks time, where we get into the electronics and resolve those issues that we picked up with both VCDS and OBD11. So on that basis, guys, have a good week, and we will see you next Monday.